God, we have not been on the air this whole time.
Okay.
Nobody got any of that. I do apologize. The mics were muted. That is my fault. I guess you saw us take the shot to get it started. Trying going back to something we did last year. Maybe that'll get us rolling. Welcome into Cash and Tickets once again. If you can't read lips, Paul and I are back to give you the locks for week 7. Looking forward to this great slate of college football. It's one of the weekends everybody's been looking forward to. October 12th is upon us. It's going to happen tomorrow. And you missed all the soccer talk, so you're welcome. You didn't have to listen to my...
No, wasn't for that, you wouldn't know we were on mute.
Right? Oh, my God. But like I said last weekend, Paul, we would have covered any spread the soccer last week. After our first 2 games,
Yeah.
I guarantee you we were +3.
Okay. Signs that things are
And
turning
we
around.
lost 2-1 and 2-0. So
There you go.
I feel like we would have covered both games.
Okay.
So we're moving in the right direction.
That's right, yeah.
Had a players only meeting after the very first game of the season, which kind of sucked for me.
They told the coaches to sit down.
They did. They said, "Don't you get out of the way and give us a shot to do this on our own?" I said, "Hey, fair enough. I just, I'll sit over here and you take care of it." So, a lot of talk about team meetings this year, so I thought I'd just bring that up.
Okay.
Anyway, you ready to rock and roll? Get this thing started?
Yeah.
All right, we got a great show coming for you today. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to quickly recap our picks from last week. We're not going to really go over, even though there's some crazy upsets last week. With everybody knows, I'm sure everybody's been reveling in a lot of it this week with 5 of the top 11 teams going down, including Alabama losing to Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
It was great to see. One that wasn't talked about much because they weren't in the top 11 was James Madison, 16-point favorite, loses to the ULM Warhawks. So add that to the list of upsets that happened last week. So we'll just move right along. We'll recap our week because we're going to kind of break down some of these big games since it's such a fun week ahead of us. And then we'll move right into our locks. Let me just fix this a little bit so everybody can see it. All right, I think I got it. All right, here we go. There it is, Paul, on the screen right there in front of you in all the green and reds. We flip-flopped this time. I got more green and you got more red. We got to get it together, son. We got to figure out a way to...
We're out of step.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So I finally bounced back a little bit. I go 5-3. The wins are Navy -9.5, Army first half 6.5. Those 2 are easy. I wish both of them played this week, so I'd have 2 picks to throw on the board. They've been money all year. Indiana continues to be a wagon. They covered the 14. It took some time. Had to get it done in the fourth quarter, but got there. Clemson easily covered the first half, 7.5. South Alabama loses outright to Arkansas State. Didn't see that coming. As I mentioned, James Madison had them. I laid the 16. They lost outright to the Warhawks.
Yeah, it's a bad loss.
Tennessee first quarter -3.5. They were losing 3-0 at the end of the first quarter to Arkansas. Lose that game outright. Commanders, Jaden Daniels continues to be incredible, having a great rookie season. They easily take care of the Browns. I get a win there. Paul, on your side, anything you want to discuss? That your 2 wins are SMU +7 and Arkansas +13.5.
The record is what it is. San Jose State almost lost outright. Had to bench their quarterback there. I'm going back to the well this week. We'll talk about it here in a minute. UConn Temple should have been.
Oh, that was just.
I don't know. All you got to just kick a field goal. You go to overtime.
Yeah, go to overtime, and you probably would have covered.
No, 100% would have covered. There's no way I wouldn't have covered unless they didn't score any points in the overtime.
Oh, that was tough.
That's where the gambling gods say, "Enough of you. You've done too well. Fuck off." Iowa, they moved the ball okay. I don't know.
7-0 at the half. You looked pretty good.
Yeah, maybe that Ohio State. I don't know. There's maybe just too much there. I don't know. Don't hate it. Hawaii, San Diego State under. I didn't think either one of the teams could score. Obviously,
they did all the scoring.
I was wrong. Missouri.
You want to discuss that Missouri game there?
That was a complete miss. But if you watch the game, they had the early pass interference call that went against them that should have been called. They would have been in the red zone, and then they had a touchdown call back. I understand the score was lopsided, but that took all the wind out of the sails for
Yeah,
that Missouri
no
Tiger
doubt.
team. They'll bounce back this week. I don't have them on my ticket, but I look for them to come on back and be a part of the show here late in the season.
I think so. They're not. I don't. That got out of
Oh,
hand
and
early.
Arkansas.
Yeah, with the outright win there. Great job by the Razorbacks
Bobby's
there.
back, baby.
So yeah, as you can see, I go 5-3. Paul goes 2-5. That's okay. Paul's still sitting at 25-18 on the season. I am trying to work my way back there, 19, 25-2. And as a collective at Poolside Bets, we are 44, 43-2. So
What do you do?
I don't know. We do better this week, right?
So
We do better. Do better
all
this
to
week.
try.
So that's the recap last week, and the way we're going to do this is we're going to run. I wrote down some games. I gave them to Paul. We're going to run down some of the bigger games this week, and I felt like we should start since we live in SEC country and fan of the SEC team and the Ole Miss Rebels. I figure we'll start with Texas and Oklahoma.
Well,
in
that was a curveball.
in the Red River at 2:30. This game typically played at 11 because they don't want people out at the Cotton Bowl getting out of that stadium late. But they moved it back to 2:30. I don't know if it's going to have any effect on the game, but the Red River, Texas, Oklahoma, 2:30 Saturday. You got anything for us, Paul?
It's not been much of a rivalry lately. I think Texas is like 4-11 straight up in our last 15 meetings against Oklahoma, which you wouldn't even think.
4-11.
Yeah,
Oklahoma's 11-4 in the last 15.
yeah, that's what I got.
Okay.
And, I don't think it. I mean, I'm glad they're both in the same conference and all that good shit, and they get to continue this rivalry again. But I don't know if they go home and home now, or they still play in Dallas, or how that works. Do you know?
No, they still play the Cotton Bowl. That's where it's going to be this year. I don't know if they're going to change it in the years to come, but they're still playing in the Cotton Bowl. So it's a neutral site. But I mean, it's in Texas, but
Do you have the line on this game?
it's 14.5. Texas favor 14.5.
Yeah, so favorites of 14 plus points in a top 20 matchup in Texas games are 31-22 against the spread. If that tells you anything. So that's two stats I just gave you to completely contradict each other. But I mean, you got to know all this is the stuff we need to look at.
Stuff we need to see.
Yeah.
I like it.
All right. Yeah, that's all I got.
That's all you got. This is the 120th edition of the Red. It used to be the Red River Shootout. Of course, we can't call it the shootout anymore because
Why not?
our country's stupid. We're in a stupid state.
What do they call it?
It's just the Red River rivalry now.
Okay.
Yeah, let's just.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't want YouTube to kick us off. But
Apparently, if we don't talk about the Clintons, we're fine.
yeah, I guess so. Look, I wrote down a few things here. It said Oklahoma's just going to have an outstanding defensive performance if they're having a chance to win this game. If you're talking about Oklahoma winning it, that defense is going to have to be everything it's been and more because the offense has been really, really bad. And they may get a bump this weekend if Deion Burks can come back and play. He's been out, injured. If he comes back, still don't know. I mean, you bench Jackson Arnold. You got this new kid. They haven't been working together. I don't know how that's going to work. Quinn Ewers is back for Texas. He's practiced all week. So he'll be back under center for the Longhorns. How crisp will he be, though? He's been out. That makes a difference. And Venables absolutely confused the hell out of him last year. So you have to think, will he be ready this go around? You have to think that Sarkisian will probably have him ready. I looked at this game every which way I could, Paul, thinking I would love to take Oklahoma in the points.
Yeah.
But boy, I could not pull the trigger. The Texas team has showed us everything we need to see that they're really, really good. And when you're that putrid on offense, how long can that defense keep you in the game?
Yeah. I mean, there's a talent gap between these two schools, too.
So I think it's going to be a rough sledding for Oklahoma. I hope it's a close game, something that we can watch. We'll absolutely have it on one of the big TVs, I'm guessing. I can't remember how many good 2:30 games there are. Probably plenty of them. So That's kind of my breakdown. I'm sure you got Texas winning this game, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I don't think they lose, even though they haven't fared well straight up. Better coach, better team, better players.
I think you can just see it on the field. It's
Yeah,
just
it's
a
just
stark
better.
difference.
You know, I don't. Oh, I don't. I'm not
Regardless
sure.
of what
I'm
we
not.
saw last weekend, I don't think Oklahoma has a shot in this
Yeah,
game.
I'm not sure what Brent Venables is either. You know, I just don't know. Is he a good coach? I don't. I'm not. Like.
We know I've been
I'm
on
not
that
gonna
train
say
for a
no.
long.
I'm not. I mean, I don't know.
Well, I've been on the train for a long time, but I don't think he's a head coach.
Yeah, they got. What's the other guy? Garrett Wright. No, he's at Clemson.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
When you're the
I
head
don't know who
coach,
their offensive coordinator is.
you're responsible for everything. You can't just be responsible for the defense.
Yeah.
And that offense is bad, and that falls on his shoulders as the head coach. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes. It ought to be a fun one, as it always is. We'll move on to the next one. That's the one that everybody's probably going to be tuned in for. The Ohio State Buckeyes travel, take on the Oregon Ducks. I'll get this one started, Paul.
Thank goodness, because I got a lot to go through.
You ready?
Go ahead.
In the last 35 games in Autzen Stadium, Oregon is 34-1.
How many of those have been against Ohio State?
0. Now, we did see Oregon go to Ohio State and win a few years back.
Right.
You remember? I think you and I were both kind of on that game,
Yeah.
and came out on the good side of that. Ohio State's looked apart though, and they're a little untested. I mean, they just played Iowa, but you know what you're dealing with there with Iowa. And this is their first road game, and it comes at Oregon. That's tough for this to be your first road game. Can Will Howard make the throws that are needed? We don't really know. I mean, he's a decent quarterback, but he's not C.J. Stroud or even Justin Fields back there. Jeremiah Smith is a stud at wide receiver. Don't get me wrong. He's fantastic. These are just some of the notes I got here as far as this game goes down, what you got to have. Dylan Gabriel cannot throw red zone picks like he has. Yeah. He's got to clean that up. And he has to protect the football there when you get inside the 20. You can't be doing that. You can't give points away. Can that Oregon front hold up against Ohio State? Can they slow that run game down of Ohio State? Autzen Stadium will be a madhouse, but here's a stat that's going to get you. Ohio State is 94% in the red zone scoring touchdowns.
That's good.
Holy cow. That is quite the stat there. So Oregon's going to have to limit them to field goals, slow that run game down, find a way to contain Jeremiah Smith. And Dylan Gabriel's going to have to take care of the ball. They've gotten better. The offensive line has gotten better. But, boy, I don't know, because we saw Ashton Genty run all over the Ducks in Autzen Stadium. What's Judkins and what's I can't even remember. What's
Travion Henderson?
Travion Henderson. They could have a big day. What do you got?
The problem with me here is somebody made the statement to me about the SEC. You know, the SEC slogan is, it just means more.
Yeah.
Well, somebody from another conference was like, no, they just pay more. Well, Ohio State
who's not paying?
They have the best money can buy on that roster. And I understand Dan Lanning's a great defensive coach, but I'm really worried about what happens late in this game. That Iowa team is good. And Ohio State just fucking second half just
bad, man.
handed it to them. One stat that poked out to me here, there's a bunch of stuff here you could go through, was overall a top 5 team as a home dog 72 times. 70 times they've been a home dog. Their record is 19-53 straight up, 29
That's not good.
29-42-1 against the spread. Does not vote well for
the
Oregon.
Ducks, does it? And, you know, people love to discuss that whole home dog thing, find the home dog. That stat you just gave me means it does not play out very, very often.
That's a top five team at home as a dog has not fared well.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
That's a good one. You pulled that. Two good ones you pulled out right there.
Yeah, just wiggling around here.
Yeah. So
just a couple old Mississippi rednecks doing numbers. What do you think?
And everything that we've discussed, everything we've said, something's going to have to go against the norm for the Ducks to get this done. Dylan Gabriel's got to stop throwing red zone picks. Is that going to happen?
No.
can they slow down the run game of Ohio State that nobody's been able to do? It's a vibes thing. Can that stadium get loud enough, and can Oregon feed off of that to get this thing done? I don't know. It's going to be tough.
The way they started the year, there's too much on film. They corrected what they had going wrong at the beginning of the year, but Ohio State has so much depth in the coaching department and the player department. They see it. They see the adjustments they made, and they're going to take advantage of all that.
I'm with you. Yeah, I wanted
not a play for me, but
hey, this is another one. I
wanted it.
I wanted to find a way here to take the home dog. I really did. I just the more I dove into early in the week, I was like, yeah, I like Oregon plus the 3 points. I like Oregon plus 3 points. But the more you look and read and I mean, it's just it's tough. It's tough to come up on the Oregon side of things.
And this is one of those games that's going to be aesthetically pleasing to watch.
It's going to be great.
Yeah, two very good teams coming off the bus. They look good in their uniforms.
That stadium is beautiful over there, and Alton Stadium is great. It's going to be packed. It's going to be rowdy. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Night game. I'm ready.
I can't wait to watch it for sure.
It's going to be on TV 4.
I know. We're going to have to relegate it. We have to relegate it to one of the smaller TVs. Poor Ohio State and Oregon. Well,
okay.
That's just because of where we live. We got other things going on here, and we don't have any bets on it, so just put it over there and watch it a little bit. Next game we'll move to, Paul, is let's talk about Iowa State, the undefeated Cyclones, traveling to take on the West Virginia Mountaineers. And I put this one on here simply because Iowa State's undefeated. Big 12's got to have a winner, obviously. And so I put this one on here to talk about. Iowa State's up to number 11 now in the country? Yeah. Somewhere around there.
Yeah, this is one of my plays this week. I'll kind of go into it more here in a little bit.
Yeah, we can.
The one thing that I will say.
You don't give away your play. Just what do you got here? Anything?
It's there's a couple teams out there that each week you look at and you think is fundamentally sound, great defense, and finally got something that can get the offense moving. It's Kansas State and it's Iowa State. Those two teams to me are the same team.
I think so. Just Iowa State just doesn't have that blemish on the record.
Matt Campbell has done an outstanding job at Iowa State. There is not a damn thing in Iowa State. In Ames, Iowa. You go to Ames, Iowa, and there ain't shit.
They got a little strip club down a dirt road down there. Maybe you go find that.
Yeah, but anyways, what he's done there is nothing short of amazing. And why he hasn't gotten more offers than he has, I don't understand. Because the guy can fucking coach.
And the whole pushback on him after a couple of years, this is what Iowa State does. They build for a year. They build.
Have to.
They go through a couple of seasons where, they're 8-4, 7-5. They build to this type of season.
You can't name, who's the Iowa State player that's in the NFL right now that's the face?
Brock Purdy.
He's the only one.
Breece Hall.
Got two.
And they had them at the same time. That's the whole thing. They built to that.
Yep.
Purdy and Hall played together, and they were fantastic. I mean, look at them. They're both great NFL players.
So,
but that shows you he knows how to recruit. Nobody else wanted those two dudes.
Yeah,
Hell, the NFL didn't want him.
Yeah, why he doesn't have more offers, I don't understand. When you got people like Billy Napier getting the Florida job, and it's just fucking silly. I'm sorry, it's silly.
It really is. The guy, he evaluates talent very well, and then he coaches them up. I mean, he's done a great job there.
All right.
I'm glad you kind of brought that up. Let me shout out my boys with the big win last night against Seattle. On the road, needing it, sitting at 2-3. Defense is beat all to hell. They get 2 picks. With 2 rookies got picks last night. Bosa was big. Purdy comes through as he always does. It was fun. It was fun to see. So thanks for shouting that out. I appreciate that. You teeing me up to get in there.
Winning.
Yeah, winning. All right, so all I got there is with this game, Rocco Beck and Garrett Green are both very competent QBs. So I think it's going to be a fun game out there. I couldn't decide on a side here just because West Virginia made that big comeback against Kansas after the lightning delay. They take a week off, and then they absolutely destroy Oklahoma State, who I think is kind of – I don't know how good that win looks just because I think Oklahoma State is kind of beaten down now. Like, they're out of it, sitting at 3-3. Then Iowa State, of course, they're undefeated, and they want to keep this thing going. They got banged up on defense last weekend. So that's something to look for there. But it's not easy to go out to West Virginia and take on the Mountaineers on the road there. And then since 2013, these two teams have played 10 times. It's 5-5 in the last 11 years. They played 10 times, 5-5 in that series. So we'll see how that game plays out. Here's one I never thought would be on the list, but here we are. Kansas State Wildcats travel to Colorado to take on Deion Sanders and the Colorado Buffaloes, and we bagged on them all offseason, but damn, Paul, here they sit. Were they 4-1?
Yeah, they need 2 wins and break my
I mean, the Buffs are right here in the thick of this Big 12 race. I thought Avery Johnson would be better this year, but what I don't think it's really his problem so much as K-State doesn't understand that their best weapon is his legs.
Yep.
Let the guy go out there and operate like that, like let him do what he does best. Of course, the best player on the field, and I think you and I both agree, the best player on the field at all times will be Travis Hunter, and in all times because he's playing both ways.
And he's now the favorite to go number 1 to the New England Patriots in the NFL draft next year.
I mean, the kid's incredible. I mean, as much as we've made fun of,
which he's not number 1 to go win the Heisman. I don't think.
Right, which is crazy. Like, it's just stupid. And you and I both talk, even in the offseason, we didn't like Colorado as a team, but we both loved Travis Hunter. Like, he's a great player.
He's a freaking great player.
No disrespect there.
Shadur Sanders is a great quarterback.
And Sanders is good. I don't know if Colorado can stop the run, and K-State better do that. But I don't know how K-State's going to handle Sanders and those receivers.
Yeah, that's the worst part of their scheme is their defensive backs.
So it's a matchup game that can Colorado stop the run? Can K-State stop Sanders from throwing it?
K-State can really shut the run down, but they can't stop the pass, which Colorado's not going to try to run it on them. I was going to be on Colorado plus, I think it's 3.5.
Mm-hmm. Which, if you know Paul at all, you know that's one hell of a play for Paul to get on Colorado.
The one angle there is the whole Colorado's going to throw it. Kansas State may not be as good against the pass, which I don't know what that says. We'll find out. The reason I didn't make this as a play is I really trust Kleiman as a coach more than I do Deion Sanders.
Oh yeah, the coaching goes to K-State, right?
That's basically it. I don't know. Colorado has done better this year by not quitting during games. In my opinion, they did quit in some games last year. They were getting, and Nebraska roughed them up pretty good. And I think that's a little bit what's going to happen with this Kansas State game. So I stayed off of it, but I could understand either side if you wanted to bet it.
I can. So here's what it comes, and you said it. Who do you trust more? Do you trust K-State to be able to slow down the pass game, or do you trust Colorado to be able to slow down K-State's run game? I mean, which side? So you don't know there. So if you like better coaching, but is Kleiman 4.5 points better? Does he have the talent to coach up to get the Buffs? And they're on the road. That's the thing. K-State's on the road here.
I don't think that means a whole bunch.
It's going to be tough.
There's a lot of pomp and circumstance, around all that. Well, you have celebrities on the sideline and all that. But I don't think a Chris Kleiman coached K-State team actually even knows
that they're on the road.
They don't even. they have no idea. They're just there playing football.
You know, that's the guy we really liked a lot, especially like he fit K-State. He was the North Dakota coach, right?
Yeah.
Came down to coach the Wildcats. Kind of fit in right there, much like we like Cignetti at Indiana.
Yeah.
After he left James Madison. All right, so we'll talk about a Friday night matchup. The Utah Utes travel to take on the Arizona State, the surprising Arizona State Sun Devils. I didn't realize this would be a big game, but it is. Utah's got a loss. Arizona State's got a loss. I didn't think Utah would be. I thought Utah would be undefeated at this point. Of course, Cam Rising has been out. I think he will continue to be out.
What is the deal with
I
that?
just assume he don't even exist. Like he's not a real
Why
person
not?
anymore.
Yeah, why don't they just say he's not on the team anymore?
Or something. Like I don't
Stupid.
understand. Every time they show him on the sidelines, I just assume that's an actor playing him. Like it's not really him. I don't know. And if he was playing, I'd take the Utes here. That defense is incredible, and defense travels.
Yeah.
Can Arizona State get Cam Scatterbo going? That they're going to have to. And that kid's a good running back, but the Utes can shut down a run game. If Arizona State can get him going, I like Levitt to maybe make some plays here in this game. I don't know if they're going to be able to do that, and Utah's tough. But Utah's better at home, and they're on the road here.
Yeah,
What do you got?
That's the old adage. I mean, you just take the better defense. Just be done with it. I don't know. I mean, you're getting over a field goal at home, which I do like. When you start.
Even at 3.5 or 4 for on.
No, I mean,
Arizona here, home dog.
Anything over 3.5, I like here. Arizona State's gonna put up a fight in this one. I just didn't bet it because I just don't know enough about.
I didn't
either
either.
team.
No, I'm not on this game either. Like I said, I just picked these games just to discuss.
I doubt Arizona State home field advantage is going to be much. I don't see it being like a capacity crowd.
Most of those people got there's much more fun things to do around there.
Ain't no doubt. Is Utah the better team in my opinion? Yes.
Yes.
Do they have the better coach?
Yes.
They
don't have the better quarterback. I think Levitt's pretty good.
Yeah, he's all right. I guess I don't know, but against that Utah defense, I mean,
It's gonna be tough.
I don't know. I don't like the number. I don't like the number.
What if I told you could get 5.5 Arizona State at home?
What is it now?
I'm not. Didn't you say it's 3.5?
It's 5.5.
Oh, I love Arizona State 5.5. I don't know that Utah State.
No, I was just saying that the numbers, anything 3 and below, yeah, but it's 3.5, 4.5, 5.5, 6.5, and then up to 7. Then you go 7. Once you get over that 7.5 mark, then you're talking about you're having to make decisions because these are what they call the key numbers.
Yeah, that's right.
And it just the numbers messed up for me here. I don't know. That's the BetMGM line. I don't know what the Caesars line is that we would be betting.
I mean, if you were just taking best number and a 5.5 was the best number out there, I would.
If I was betting
it, I would take the dog here, simply because Utah's offense is not any good without Cam Rising.
Head to head, Utah is 8-2 against the spread against Arizona State.
Don't be bringing your history facts in here when I'm trying to make a point.
Did I mess you up? Well, that's my point, though. I do that a lot. Ain't no doubt. It's just those are numbers that you need to be looking at, but also
you need to know them.
It doesn't really have anything to do with the
actual
number.
Yeah, or this
year.
So
you're talking. They covered a 9.5. They covered a 17. They covered a -1. They covered a 16.
Okay, but like
in
the past 5 years, Arizona State's been god
garbage.
awful, right?
Garbage.
Yeah.
And they've only played one home game in the last 4 years, which is odd.
Okay, so yeah, there you go.
Against them, so that's odd. This is and these are all a part of the reasons why this is a no play for me. Even though some of the numbers say go bet Utah, it's just the number looks squirrely.
Yeah, I got you.
Like put that if you're a booker and you're setting the spreads, 5.5 it doesn't exist. There's no 5.5. I mean, how do they get 5.5? Anyways. I'm used to restaurant.
All right. I guess if they get 2 late field goals and win, there's tie game and field goal, and hold them. I don't know. I'm going to talk about this next game because I think it's a play that Paul's got, so I'll just give my thoughts on it. I wasn't sure he was going to get on this game, so I added it in our little game breakdown, but sure as shit, he's on it. So the Arizona Wildcats travel to Provo to take on the undefeated BYU Cougars. Now, look, I thought BYU was going to be one of the worst teams in the Big 12. I could not have been more wrong. I know when we just did our Big 12 preview earlier this summer, I really thought they were going to be bad like they were last year, but You got to admit sometimes when you're wrong, and this is one of those cases. Now the offense has not been very good, and they've won some squeakers. I mean, but that defense has been good. So it's a little smoke and mirrors for me with BYU. But this is a home game, even though it's not at night, and you go to Provo at night, it's very tough. Um, but Fafita has regressed some for Arizona. They got a new coach. You had to know this was coming. They got a new coach. I'm sure it's a new OC. So Fafita doesn't look the same as he did last year. But the boy, McMillan, and I can't remember the kid's first name or pronounce it properly.
Yeah, Tiatora.
Yeah, but McMillan is still getting his, and he's fantastic. And here's the thing about McMillan. He is if you go look at the McMillan is like 6'5", 215, or 6'4", 215, something like that. Big kid. He's like 4 to 5 inches bigger than every DB that BYU has. Probably outweighs every one of them by 20, 25 pounds. That's a tough matchup for BYU. But like I said, Fafita hasn't been great. And if he's not throwing to McMillan, he's not doing much at all. And if this was a night game, I would have been all over it. Provo at night, BYU, they're undefeated. It's going to be crazy there. Now, here's something for you. This is what I did dig out, Paul.
Mm-hmm.
Both teams are really bad at converting third downs.
Mm-hmm.
Like under 30% for both
Right.
teams at converting third downs.
That is a fact.
So to me, it sets up for a low-scoring affair. And in those types of games, BYU has been money all year long, as it shows they're undefeated.
Yeah.
So neither team. If Arizona was better at picking up third downs, because BYU cannot stay on the field, their offense. I mean, they've just struggled all year to pick up third downs. But then again, so is Arizona. Now they're going up one of the best defenses in the country in BYU all of a sudden. So they're on the road, so it's a tough matchup for the Wildcats here, and we'll get more into that when we get into our locks.
Yeah. The one thing that stuck out to me as I was handicapping this game is the last 6 games they're 0-6 against the spread to the under between these two teams.
Really?
Yeah. So it's 49.5. This is the lowest total they've had except for 47.5.
Can you see in any scenario where this game gets to 50? The way these two teams have operated this year.
They can't stay on the field.
That's what I'm saying. Neither one of them can convert a third down. How do you set this line at 49? Boy, that feels like a play there. Like an extra play. Maybe go throw Arizona BYU under in a teaser.
If you got a teaser, yeah, throw it up to 56.5.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, those are just fun stats we get to look at.
That's really good. I'm glad you brought that up. I didn't think about that.
Well,
I mean, you got both teams that are under 32% in converting third downs.
not good.
And you set this at nearly 50?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Well, of course, you knew which game we were going to come to last. So it's time for us to discuss it. 6:30 Saturday night, Paul. The Ole Miss Rebels travel down to Baton Rouge, step into Death Valley to take on the LSU Tigers.
I got a play on this, but I'm going to talk about the game, I guess.
Yeah, look, we'll just discuss
I'm not a
the game.
huge fan of Brian Kelly.
I think we all have come to know and love your take on the Brian Kelly.
We just respectfully disagree.
What
on
was
this.
the little video you accidentally come across? The kid was about to say, "If one thing I trust Brian Kelly in big games," and he just had to just get that off the screen.
And all his national titles.
Yeah, all the big games he's won.
Yeah,
Come on,
all the huge games he's won.
come on, yeah.
I mean, there's something to be said for Death Valley at night. I get it. They act like idiots. It is what it is. This is going to be a tough place to play, but this is a senior-led, experienced Ole Miss team. The loss earlier against Kentucky is inexcusable. They shouldn't have never lost it, but they did, and they had to own up to it, and they did. They came back, and they responded well. This is a defense that nobody's ever seen at Ole Miss, including LSU. So if they think they're going to walk in there to the same bullshit they did last year, they're insane. I understand that they haven't been sacked. Nobody can get to Neusmeyer, whatever his name is. They're going to get to him, and they're going to make him like it. That's my difference in the ball game for me is that I think our defense controls the game, field position, and we get enough out of our offense, which our offense has all the talent in the world. I don't know what's happening here lately. I don't know. I'm confused about. I think at some point you just have to take other players and stick them in there
Yeah.
and see what happens. This is the game Lane Kiffin definitely has to win. You don't need 2 losses this early in the year, in my
No,
opinion.
for sure.
And I think he knows that. I think we throw it all at them in Death Valley and we leave with a win.
Okay. So before I get in some numbers, I'm going to put up on the screen here. You know, you go out there and you listen to people, and I know these national guys, they don't see all the games, and they watch bigger games. And it's funny though when you listen to them. I like some of the stuff. Tell me you don't know really anything about LSU Ole Miss without telling me.
Mm.
It's because they literally bring up stuff that makes no sense.
Well,
Like I heard that LSU's defense has been better, and they don't really miss Harold Perkins, who is their most talented defensive player. But then you tell me Ole Miss's defense has been good, but they're missing Princely this weekend. Well, they've missed him the last 2 games.
no.
So that contradicts each other. How can a defense be better losing their best player, and a defense has been great without a guy is all of a sudden going to be bad because they're missing that guy?
Right.
That makes no sense. And they just tell me, I just like Nussmeier. He's just really doing a great job. He's just been fantastic all year.
Yeah, maybe so.
Right? I mean, isn't that what we're hearing? And how Dart's inconsistent. He's not doing this. He's not doing this. But then in other games, they give you all the numbers to back up their statements. But in this game, they don't use the numbers. You know why, Paul?
They don't.
The
fit
numbers
the
don't
narrative.
fit the narrative. So I'm going to throw this up here. Here we go. There's no names up on the screen. Can you see it, Paul? I don't think it's probably small.
That same thing over there.
Yeah. So let's take a look here. This first section right here, that's yards per game. This is QBs, yards per game, completion percentage, passing efficiency, and yards per attempt, yards per pass attempt. Okay, you got it?
Yeah.
This quarterback in column B is number 3 in yards per game, number 6 in completion percentage, number 3 in passing efficiency, and number 1 in yards per attempt. What do the NFL guys like to talk about? Are you moving the ball down the field?
Right.
The dink and dunk shit doesn't work, right? You can't throw it short and expect a guy to go get you 6 yards every time.
You got to take a chance.
You got to move it down the field. Now, QB in column C, number 5 in yards per game. Very good. Completion percentage, number 16. Not bad. Really good. Passing efficiency. Oh, we dropped down to 24. Yards per attempt, moving it down the field, number 37. So I think everybody knows where I'm going here, but this is Jackson Dart in column B. And I'm not trying to spell his name, so I'm just going to do GN for Garrett Nussmeier here in column C. So there's your rankings there. So that's just pure numbers.
Yeah.
You can't ignore these numbers when you're trying to give me a narrative just because you like LSU at night at home.
Well,
At least use something.
There's way better numbers out there if you want to bet LSU.
Yeah, there's way better stuff, and we're going to get to that in a minute. This is on paper talk.
Yeah.
So down here, this is defensive stats. Points given up per game, yards per play, red zone scoring, yards per rush, and pass yards per game. Oh, that's a great sound. Column B, this team gives up 9 points per game, number 3 in the country. 3.8 yards per play, number 4 in the country. Red zone scoring. Other teams only score 57% of the time. That's number 2 in the country. Yards per rush, 1.9 yards per rush, number 2 in the country. And pass yards per game. I know that's a crazy stat because they haven't been great in the pass game. But pass yards per game, only 215, sitting at number 64. Respectable. Okay, let's move to column C. This team has given up 21.8 games. 21.8 points per game,
Right.
number 37.
Got it.
5.7 yards per play. You run 2 plays, you get a first down, Paul.
Well,
78th in the country. Red zone scoring, teams score 81% of the time when they're in the red zone against them. Yards per rush, 3.7 every time a running back touches it. And then the pass yards per game, they give up 258 for number 100 in the country. So, of course, column B is your Ole Miss Rebels. Column C is your LSU Tigers. So at least use something to back up your statement. Don't just tell me that it's, Nussmeier's really, really good. Okay, how does he stack up? Not so well. LSU's defense has improved. How does it stack up? Not so well.
Yeah, good stuff. So,
all right. So what do you got? Sorry, I had to go on. You know I was coming with a little rant there. So
that's all good. I mean, if you want to bet LSU, it's fine. I mean,
and that has nothing to do with betting the game. And I'm not saying that Ole Miss is going to win,
team,
but at least when you're giving all these how much you love LSU and what you think is going to happen, at least use something to back something up, and it's not there. Don't try to tell me that Ole Miss is bad.
Yeah. The home team's covered in this game 9 of the last 10 games, which would be LSU here. But the problem is this LSU team is bad at covering games. And part of it is because Brian Kelly sucks as a head football coach. I mean,
there it is. I knew it was coming at some point. I mean, we got it out of you.
They can't cover against South Carolina, who Ole Miss just fucking hammered. Don't be like, oh, they played them in South Carolina. So did Ole Miss. Get off of it.
Yeah,
couldn't cover against Nicholls State, for God's sake, who lives on the same campus as they do. Couldn't cover against USC. Of course, lost that outright. I mean, they covered against South Alabama, which is. I mean, I was on the team total over there, which is
South Al had a tough night.
Yeah, bad night. But those are it is. But this is not this LSU team with Brian Kelly at the helm. I just have no trust in. I mean, I just don't. I'm not going to beat it to death.
Now, if you want to use history as your betting guide, this is a betting podcast. I gave you all the stats on Ole Miss's side. That's paper stuff. I get it. That always doesn't come into play, right? Look at last weekend with Vanderbilt and Bama. Paper meant shit, right?
You can't account for Diego
No,
Pavia.
you cannot. All right, so here we go. You want something to sway you the other way? I'll give it to you. I'll give you actual stuff. Here we go. There have been 123 night games in Baton Rouge since the year 2000. LSU is 108-15 in those games.
Is that good?
It's not bad.
Sounds good.
LSU is 12-0 in night games under current head coach Brian Kelly and 16-1 at home under Brian Kelly. In this matchup, the home team has won 10 of the last 12.
Right.
Nussmeier's only been sacked once all season.
What's that prop?
Will Trey Harris play? That changes things for Ole Miss. So there's just some stuff. I wish we had that prop on Nussmeier not being. I bet it would be. No, you know what? I guarantee you they'd set that sumbitch at 1.5.
Oh, I'd take it. To be sacked.
Simply because
to be sacked.
Yeah.
Oh, they'll get him 3 times at least.
No, simply because he hasn't been sacked all year, and Ole Miss is really good at it, so it'd be 1.5. Under 1.5 sacks.
Can I go back over the defenses he's been against?
Yeah, and see, that's the thing.
UCLA, South Alabama, South Carolina.
Thank you.
Nicholls State and USC.
How come
he ain't seen what's about to happen to him?
I don't understand when these guys talk and they do things. They want to bring up Ole Miss's schedule all the time. Like, well, they only played so and so. Okay, well, let's discuss who LSU has played. Yeah. Can we not discuss that? I get it. It's at night at LSU. I get it.
All right, we're starting to show our colors here.
Well, we're supposed to.
Big game. Elimination game, in my opinion.
Like I said, there's only one way I'm betting this game. It has nothing to do with the side, but I gave you the numbers. I gave you the stats, the pure paper stats for each team. And then, of course, I gave you the stuff that all favors LSU. All of that does. They're 12-0 in night games under Brian Kelly, 16-1 in home, 108-15 in last 123 night games. Since over the 24 fucking years. I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's incredible. And Ole Miss may be missing Trey Harris, and that changes things offensively for them.
Well, they look at him too much.
Well, if they thought he was going to be out, I guarantee you they've repped something different for this week.
No,
So, you ready to lock it up, Paul?
I guess.
All right.
What you want to do?
We're gonna. Well, it's time for us to give some locks. We've broken down. Is there any other game that you liked or you think you might want to watch or you want to discuss before we?
No, I had some other stuff. But
Yeah,
it's
go
not a big
ahead.
deal.
Let's hear it.
The
I want to hear it.
Penn State USC game.
I meant to put that one on the list. That's my bad.
Penn State's like been a wagon here against the spread. They're 13-5 straight up, 14-4 against the spread in their last 18 road games dating back to 2020. So they've been really good, but we don't know what they are.
No.
Are they
They're-
are they different than what we think they are? Maybe we'll find out Saturday.
They have not been explosive on offense like they were their first few games.
Yeah.
They've played better competition.
Yeah.
They're not that explosive. Like, all of a sudden
Against-
Penn State's explosive. Wow, I don't think so.
Against a lesser opponent that's not named Michigan or Ohio State, Penn State's been money. So keep that in mind. This is probably the furthest they've ever been, except maybe to the Rose Bowl to play for a Big Ten title game, or not the bowl games they go to. But this is as far as they've ever traveled away from. What do they play at? Some college state? No, it's not college. What is it?
Happy Valley?
Happy Valley, College Park, some shit. I don't
Happy
know.
Valley.
Anyways, yeah, that's where they. Anyways, but yeah, I'm gonna pay attention. I'm gonna be looking at that to see how it plays out.
If you made me bet it, I'm taking USC in the points.
Okay,
That's
yeah,
just where I'm
yeah,
at.
no,
That's just-
yeah, I would. I know. I'm gonna be.
Penn State's traveling too far. I don't think their offense is as dynamite as people think it
Mm-hmm.
is. I don't think Drew Aller has moved forward that much.
No.
Miller Moss has had trouble with turnovers. He's gonna have to. USC's gonna have to fix that.
Yeah.
But I think they can hang in this game long enough. To what is it? 5,
Yeah.
4.5, 5 now, somewhere in that area.
No.
I'd take USC in the points. I don't know if I could take them to win it. I think Penn State probably. USC is going to make a mistake somewhere.
I'm just curious to see. To me, they're almost the same team. I want to know which one's better.
Yeah. Is Miller Moss better than Drew Aller?
If Penn State goes to USC and beats them, then they beat them. It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm just curious to see how that plays out. That was just one of the games. The stat line on that 13-5 straight up, 14-4 against the spread.
All right.
That's good.
If you got anything else, let them have it because I'm gonna. I gotta go talk to somebody.
Yeah, I'm with you. My other game's the Bama South Carolina game. Vanderbilt beats Bama straight up. Getting 24 points last game. Since 2017, Alabama is 7-0 straight up and 5-2 against the spread after a straight up loss, which is really good numbers in betting. All 7 of those games went to the under. And this is a Nick Saban coach team after a straight up loss. I get the board wasn't there. And his ass is going to lock down on defense after a loss. He's going to get in their ass. DeBoer has only coached 4 games after a straight up loss. He's 2-2 straight up and 1-3 against the spread. Doesn't vote well here. Losing as a favorite in 2 of those games, so just keep that in mind. Top 10 teams off a road loss as a 14-plus point favorite are 21-5 straight up in their next game. So, but they're 9-17 against the spread.
Oh,
the under is 17-6. So if you're gonna bet this, if you're one of those in your head thinking Alabama just got beat by Vanderbilt, they're gonna be absolutely pissed off.
Take the Gamecocks plus 21.
Yeah, well, or just take the under.
Take the under.
Because South Carolina can't move the ball.
No.
Okay. I would take the under. I think the total is the low 40s here.
Oh my! So they've adjusted.
What is it? Let's look.
While you're looking that up, I wanted to mention. God.
No, we lost.
Oh no! I'm gonna have to.
No,
ask
it's 50.
You.
It's fucking 50. Go on.
Oh yeah,
take the
under 50. Yeah.
Take the under there.
I wanted to ask you because I've heard conflicting things all week about the end of that game, the end of the Alabama Vanderbilt game.
Okay.
What did you think? And what's your take on Malachi Moore's
acting like an asshole?
Acting.
He would not.
at the
He
end
would
of that
not be
game?
at the University of Alabama. If Nick Saban's there, I have a big sinking suspicion
He would be on suspension this
he
week
would
at
not
least.
be playing. He would not be playing in this game. It's a terrible look for what it is or what it looks like for the locker room to have a player in front of 80,000, well, not 20,000 people in Vanderbilt or wherever, and millions of people looking on TV giving the middle. He didn't figuratively give the middle finger to the head
Kind of
coach.
did when he kicked the football.
But he did. He did.
And he also said, "I'm not coming out." They tried to sub for him.
They asked him to get off the field, and he refused. Then he acted like a big old. He would not play football for. I don't care how talented he
Okay,
is.
so I'll give you this take, and this comes from a former Alabama player, and AJ McCarron. AJ said, he didn't disagree that it was a bad look, right? But he did say he was happy to see somebody had some emotion.
No,
somebody,
fuck no.
So I'm not on his side. I'm just telling you this is what he said. Like he just said that. I'm glad I saw, but you can have that in the locker room, right? You can have that emotion in the locker. Who's to say those other guys aren't pissed off as well? You don't know that. You can't say he's the only one showing some emotion because the other guys know you don't do that on the field. Am I right? Or I mean, what do you think?
Now, for me, the red flag is that he had the comfortability and the balls to do it.
Yeah.
And it wasn't worried about what the coaching staff was going to do.
Mm-mm.
That's a bad problem.
It's a bad.
That's a bad thing, man. You don't Alabama. I'm telling you now. Don't.
It's different.
Don't. That is not a good sign. Look, Auburn Roll Tide, Blitz, Bama Blitz, all that good shit. Hey, go get them, baby. But I don't. They got to fix that shit. That's not good. They should suspend him.
It's a bad look to have that going on the field.
Man,
you disobeyed your coaches, one, and then you gave a middle finger to everybody when you walked up and kicked the football.
They sent a bad message.
It was a tough look. I just wanted when I heard you talking about that game, that came to my mind, and was kind of wondering where you.
Yeah, so
of course you and I were both watching that live. You know, we switched to that game.
If you're gonna bet that game, just take the under. I didn't put it in as one of my plays.
I didn't either.
I don't think. And if you're in your mind thinking that Alabama's going to be pissed off and go out there, well, South Carolina just lost too.
They're pissed off as well.
Yeah, so I mean, they ain't out there kicking footballs and shit, but they're not happy about it either. So there's two good, well coached teams about to get it on.
All right, let's move to something fun, Paul. You ready? You got that out of you? Sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, but I mean, when in the history of when in the history of anything, at
Has
work,
that been okay?
you can't.
No, it's not.
If you got an issue, man, handle it behind the closed door.
That's what I'm saying. He could have had all that emotion in the locker room, and nobody would give a shit.
Yeah, and he's supposed to be their defensive captain.
That's what I'm saying. If you're the captain, you go in the locker room and you chew ass.
And that,
for sure.
100%. That's not the first time he's acted like an idiot.
No. This has happened before.
Yeah. So
don't tell me he blacked out. I don't want to hear this. Oh, he blacked out.
That's on DeBoer.
You know,
he didn't black out when Georgia was fucking coming back on him in the second half.
No, he did not.
All
right, let's move on to these locks, Paul. Let's get them. You want
to
give the fans what they came here to get?
Let's try. Hell, let's get on the same page.
We got to do better. All right, I've gone first 2 weeks in a row.
My turn?
Yep. Teeing you up. Let's go. Give
11
us
o'clock on the ESPN flagship. Give me Clemson minus 20.5. How has Clemson performed after facing a Florida State team? Florida State under how have they performed?
Wait, you got that at 20.5?
Yeah. What is it now?
You gave me 20, so I'm gonna change it on the screen.
Went up. Yeah, I changed it this morning.
Okay.
I tried to upgrade my
numbers.
It's
all good. Go ahead.
So how has Clemson performed after facing Florida State under Dabo Swinney? Pretty good. He's 15-0 straight up, 12-3 ATS against the spread. After playing the Seminoles, which they played last week, they win by 25 points per game. Wake Forest they don't have the Jimmies and the Joes to compete with Clemson right now. And Clemson's a little.
You don't want to say that what you typically tell me?
I already said something about the Clintons. What else you want me to do?
You don't typically tell me they don't have the Jimmies and the Joes.
Yeah, well,
They need some more what?
Yeah, they're average. They're average.
So I'm not going to make, sorry.
No,
We'll move along.
ATS, they're usually, against the spread, they're 17 points per game average after Florida State. And like I said, they're 12-3 ATS in those games. So that's a clear indication that Clemson usually plays well after Florida State. And they're on a pretty good run right now. They go to Tallahassee, from Tallahassee to Winston-Salem, which is where Wake Forest is, which Ole Miss also went to Wake Forest and beat the shit out of them. Clemson is 5-0 straight up, and ATS when listed as a double-digit favorite on the road. So give me the Clemson Tigers minus 20.5 until they have to play a team worth of shit again.
Okay, Paul. So that's your first pick, right?
I hope so.
My first pick, I'm heading to Winston-Salem.
Get on the get in the DeLorean.
I don't know if you know this, but the Clemson Tigers are traveling to Winston-Salem to take on the Wake Forest Demon Deacons at 11 a.m. on ESPN Saturday morning. They're a 20.5-point favorite at the Demon Deacons.
No.
Now, this is the play I made last week, and I'm going right back to the well. Clemson continues to power right along since that Georgia loss. Now, it might look like a spot that some teams fell into last week where the big favorite comes in and they get beat on the road, they get upset, but I don't like it. I'm not buying it with this Tigers team. Wake is coming off a big win for them. They put up 34 on NC State, but that's an NC State team that looks dead. Dead.
Yeah, don't worry about that.
And the last time we saw Wake play a decent defense in the Ole Miss Rebels, they managed 6 points. That was at home. Wake was at home, managed 6 points against the Rebels. So I like Clemson early and often. So I do have a little different play than you do. That's why I kept it. I got Clemson first half minus 11.
Okay. Am I up?
You're up. Typically after I go, unless we got another guy in here, somebody else that wants to.
Yeah, there was a suggestion that we add Megan to the podcast.
When was that made?
And her picking ability.
Was that made Wednesday night and I just forgot?
I don't know who made. No, it wasn't Wednesday. It was outside.
Was it recent?
It was outside of our normal festivities. Like, why don't y'all add Megan since she's so good at the pick 'em?
Because she won once in 2 years.
That's a win.
If
you win one natty in 2 years.
If I do recall, there was a young gentleman that I know that I'm friends with that put in a pick'em sheet last week. Now it's funny.
No, I wasn't saying that.
Now it's odd. This same gentleman went 2-5 in his locks. He puts in a pick'em sheet, picking against the spread, ladies and gentlemen, against the spread. 12 games he picked, and he went 10-2 on a weekend with all the upsets. He goes 10-2.
That's pretty good.
And he's sitting right next to me.
We should get that guy on the podcast.
He's talking.
Yeah, maybe you should just give me games to pick and not me go find them.
Not go find them.
Nah,
damn. 10-2 last week in one of the toughest weekends. That was really good. All right, moving along.
So I'm going back to the well, even though they let me down last week. San Jose State, and I'm pretty sure they're +1 now.
Mm-hmm.
So
they're dogs now. That's what you gave me. You got me +1.
Which is fine. I got it messed up on mine. I want to change it real quick. All right. Doc Brown, Emmett Brown, the DeLorean.
He's going to bench our boy.
He was like 12 of 28, and they had to make a comeback against Nevada last week. It don't matter who's captain in this fucking spread and shred ship. They're going to sling it. The Rams' offense is awful. Colorado State's defense can't stop nobody. Too much firepower here. Spartans win it going away. Give me San Jose State Spartans +1.
It's still.
And take them on the money. If it's -105 on the money line,
take them on the money line.
That's so dumb.
It's so hard for me to wrap my head around the fact that Ken Niumatalolo is running an offense called the spread and shred.
All I can think of is he was sitting on base, I guess they call it at Navy, just drawing up shit that he knew
Holy
maybe
hell!
one
This
day.
is the craziest thing I've. I still is so hard for me to wrap my head around that.
He had all the time to draw up plays. I mean, the options, left, right, up the middle.
You know he's
I mean,
he's the winningest coach at Navy ever in the history.
There you go.
And now here he is at the Spartans running this crazy offense
Yep,
after running the triple
shred.
option. Oh my God! Hey, look, hey, adapt, right?
Adapt
Move and adapt,
that's
baby.
That's a
Adapt
military
and
thing,
overcome. Yeah.
There you go.
Congratulations to him for landing there and
Getting it
doing well. Yeah, that's great. All right, my next game is another 11 a.m. game, and I'm going right back to the well here, baby. And I am so excited about it because they haven't let me down, and I don't think they will here just because of the matchup. UAB, the Blazers, travel to take on the Army Black Knights. 11 a.m., CBS Sports Network. UAB's coming off a 71-20 loss at home to the Tulane Green Wave, and now they have to go on the road to take on the Black
Got to
Knights.
go to Meechie Stadium.
Take on this team that is rolling. When Bryson Daly is healthy, this Army team is very tough to beat in the last 2 years. Daly this year is averaging 130 yards on the ground in his last 4. He's thrown for over 100 yards twice this season, twice in the last 2 with 140 against Tulsa last week. UAB is 121st in college football in every defensive rush metric there is.
Not good.
Guess who's going to run the football, Paul? The Black Knights are going to be running it early and often. Nobody throws on UAB because they don't have to.
No sense in it.
And when they do throw it, though, this is what got me. When they do throw it against UAB, you know what teams are averaging?
40 yards.
9.2 yards per pass.
That's like a first down.
And that's what Army likes to do. If they're going to throw it, it's for a big chunk play.
Yeah.
The full game seems like a lot because sometimes Army's going to slow that pace down in the second half, and they're just going to roll to that win. So give me the Army Black Knights in the first half, minus 15.5.
Yeah, UAB's thrown more picks than they have touchdowns this year, so I like it.
And the word in Birmingham, Alabama, is that nobody likes Trent Dilfer there. That includes players, fans, other coaches.
Yeah, he's not a likable fellow.
It's a bad, and UAB they quit last week.
Yeah, the typical jock. That 26.5 is like another weird number.
I just don't like it. It's too much because Army's going to sit on that thing in the second half. They're going to get up early and sit on it.
Why is it 26.5? Why not take it to 28? Like what? Like why 26.5?
Because if Army's giving up points, it's only going to be field goals.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. All right.
Because that defense has been really good too, and UAB's not very good anywhere.
2:30 ACC Network. Virginia host Louisville, I believe.
The Virginia Cavaliers.
The Wahoos. Give me Virginia plus 7.5 here.
Holy smokes, Virginia taking.
I put a play out against Louisville last week. It covered. I'm going back to the well here.
Well, you've just given up on the Cardinals, huh?
I don't know if I'm giving up on them, but I mean, I like this.
You just don't like them, do you?
Yeah.
How about that SMU pick you threw out 2 weeks ago? Outright winners.
That's what, last week?
No, it was week before.
Louisville? No. Okay.
Let's take a look.
I don't know.
No, Smoo last week. Yeah, last week. It was last week. That was one of your 2 wins.
Yeah.
Sorry, my bad.
Yeah, what an asshole. Virginia's 10-4 against the spread in their last 14. They're at home here. They're getting the hook. I love that shit. Louisville has played a pretty tough schedule so far, and they have some injuries they're dealing with. Virginia's 2-0 in ACC, can go to 3-0 if they can pull this off, which I don't hate taking them straight up. They hadn't turned the ball over in back-to-back games this season, so they're taking care of the football. They're playing, and they're throwing a lot too. So I don't necessarily think there won't be a shootout. If it gets to the 30s, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
But I think Virginia can hang with them. So give me the Wahoos plus 7.5.
All right. If you go out there and you listen to a bunch of prognosticators or you peruse some websites, you will see that a lot of people think this team's going to bounce back this weekend. And I'm fading them. I don't like them. 2:30 ESPN2, Cincinnati Bearcats travel to take on the UCF Black Knight. Which one are they?
Golden Knights.
Golden Knights. Why am I got?
What are you doing?
I got Army all up in my head. Still got Army up in my head. Central Florida is the Golden Knights, right?
Yeah, they're Golden
Yeah.
Knights.
Oh, goodness gracious. Okay. Anyway, KJ Jefferson has regressed as a QB over the last 2 years, and I didn't think that was going to happen. I was high on UCF this year, but hey, can have a change of heart, and I can say when I'm wrong. I thought the change of scenery would do Jefferson some good, but now he just looks overweight and slow. And what's worse,
Called that man overweight.
what's worse is Central Florida defense.
wow.
The metrics say that they're decent against the run, but they struggle mightily against the pass game. So they don't have to worry about people running too much because everybody's throwing the football on them. They give up 285 pass yards a game and an astounding 73.57% completion percentage for the opposing quarterback. Since he's averaged 34 passes a game and 280 yards a game in the air at 8.3 yards per pass. That's a lot going up against a defense that can't stop it.
Yeah, they definitely can't stop anybody.
So this is a bad matchup on paper for the Golden Knights. As I typed in Black Knights there, so I still had Army on my mind. Since he's much improved, Satterfield's not a terrible coach. I think he's pretty good. And look, they had it close with an undefeated Pitt team, and they had Texas Tech on the ropes. That was only a 3-point loss with Texas Tech, who I think is undefeated in the Big 12, maybe. So I think the wrong team is favored here. I think UCF is going in the wrong direction. Cincinnati is moving in the right direction.
I hate to hear it.
And what Cincinnati does well is what UCF does bad.
Great.
So give me the points. I'm going to take Cincinnati +3. And I like them outright, if you're just wondering.
Is it 3.5 or 3?
When I looked at it, it was 3. But if you give me the hook, I'd love to have it.
I know what BetMGM
Oh, it's
says.
+3.5. Yeah, I got it right there on my thing. Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
Wait, I put the half on my spreadsheet, but I got 3 on my write-up. I think it moved half a point the other way.
Yeah.
What do you got at Caesars over there?
What time does it start?
2:30. If we could bet online, we'd take best available spread, but we can't.
I got our own thing here. Let's see, 3.5.
All right, good, great, love it. The hook, I can get the hook. So there we go. Cincinnati +3.5.
All right, my next play is going to be at 6 o'clock on ESPN2. I've made this bet, I think, 2 or 3 times this year. It's North Texas -5.5 versus Florida Atlantic. Too much firepower here for the Owls. Florida Atlantic, Tom Herman, I thought he would do better.
I thought it would be better there too.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just
That North Texas team has been good to you this year, Paul.
Yeah, Florida Atlantic's defense is strong against the pass, but 131st against the run, and then 125th in rush against the run. And then I got it wrong.
Hey, get your numbers right.
Yeah, it's all right. I'm trying to do math over here. You know, I'm not good at math. But North Texas runs the ball 45% of the time this year, which is 106th in the nation. It's just going to be like one of those deals where it's going to be too much firepower for Florida Atlantic to keep up with them. I mean, they may stay close early, but it's just not going to be good. It's going to be too much. They can get it done either way. I know North Texas gives up a lot of points, but I'm thinking of something like 48-28 here.
Okay.
So give me
North
Texas.
You like North Texas big?
Yeah, I had a lot of numbers here, but I kind of messed them up.
This is one of my favorite plays of the week, simply because I have a video to show for this one.
Oh boy.
So this is gonna be fun. You going somewhere?
I might not. Do I need to stay? Go ahead.
Here's my next pick. 2:30 ESPN. California travels across the country to take on the Pitt Panthers, the undefeated Pitt Panthers. Now, this is a play against travel for me, and I thought about doing this for several games this week, including Ohio State, Oregon, and Penn State, USC. So it's a strategy I thought I'd use more, but this is the only one I'm putting in locks. Cal's had very two long travels, and they won both of them. I get it. They won against Auburn, and they won against FSU. They're coming off a gut-wrenching loss, though, against Miami with, I think that was a wrong call on that late penalty, or that wasn't called. I can't remember which way that went. Anyway, they have to travel across the country, take on the undefeated Pitt team. The wins have been slender, but they have gotten it done each and every time. But none of this is the reason I'm taking the Pitt Panthers to win and cover this line. None of it. So I'm about to show you why. If you haven't seen it, now is your chance to see it. Here's the reason I'm taking the Pitt Panthers this week. Here we go. Enjoy, everyone.
See you Saturday, neighbor.
Is that not fantastic? I hope the audio came across. I think it looked like it was going. That's just amazing. Well done by Pat Narduzzi and the crew there, doing the Mr. Narduzzi's neighborhood, changing into the cardigan and the tennis shoes and
Ready to roll.
look, ready to go. I'm all aboard. Give me the Pitt Panthers. Minus 3.5 at home. Easy win. Taking on the Cal Bears.
I feel like I missed a team. Did I give BYU?
No, you skipped BYU. You
All right,
just
let me
you
go
just
back.
moved.
Let me go back to
You just
BYU.
moved, yeah.
All right.
Totally fine.
My next play is 3:00 on Fox. I don't have no fancy video to show.
Was that not incredibly? Did you see it? Have you seen it?
I hadn't,
It's amazing.
but I'm going to go back.
It's the
and watch it.
instead of Mr. Rogers' neighborhood and Mr. Narduzzi's
Yeah, I saw
neighborhood.
the
Just come
start of
in,
it,
change
yeah.
the cardigan. It's incredible.
I'm going to have to watch it. All right, so BYU -3, hosting Arizona, 3:00 on Fox. As Franklin said earlier, neither team is worth a shit on third down. They can't get off the field. But BYU is the better team here. Okay?
I'm with you there.
BYU has covered their last 7 against the spread. I don't have a lot of notes here. I mean, I got some stuff on the same thing we talked about earlier.
This is a vibe play, a feel play.
Yeah, well, Arizona was 3 of 10 against Texas Tech on third down. 0 and 10 against Northern Arizona on third down. Northern Arizona. BYU.
They're bad on third down.
BYU's just a better team here. I don't like the hook, but it should be more than a touchdown win here. So give me BYU -3.5, and I don't have more than that. Just bet it and thank me later.
All right. I like it. We'll move on to my next pick. 4:00. You got to go out and stream this sucker. ESPN Plus. Southern Miss Golden Eagles travel to take on the ULM Warhawks. Sometimes you got to dig deep to find them, Paul.
You got to get in there.
Hey, look, if I was typing, this would not be a typo. The ULM Warhawks are 4-1 on the season. Coming off a huge win last Saturday against the James Madison Dukes.
Damn sure did.
So this team is playing great. They've been great all year. Outside of the 51 points that they give up to the mighty Texas Longhorns, they have not allowed more than 19 points in any game this year. In all 4 of those games, they got the win. Now they face a USM offense as one of the worst in FBS. So you got an awful offense going up against one of the better defenses in that conference. Warhawks are flying high. The defense can always be counted on. Give me the Warhawks big. I like them in a blowout.
No.
ULM -7.
Yeah, that probably beat the hell out of All right, like where we're going here. They got it 25.
Best bet of the week for me.
Nah, you don't blame me. Let's do 14. All right. All right, I got myself back on track now. I'm going to 6:30. ABC. Give me the Ole Miss LSU under 62.5. Now, as I started the week and I started to look through stuff, I found this little nugget, and it's 113 games this season, with a total of 60 and more.
Mm-hmm.
The under has hit 62% of the time, 71 and 42. So I asked myself, I said, is there any
Self?
Self
Said, huh?
PJ, are you there?
Yeah,
I said,
hey,
hello,
I'm here,
hello,
I'm here. Yes,
hello,
let's
I'm
talk.
Up, I'm up. What's up? I say
Why
to
is
my,
it so damn early? It's 4 o'clock in the morning.
That's a lot, man. I do it. It's crazy.
Goodness gracious.
So, anyways, so I'm there, and I say, is there any game that fits this narrative for me pre-flop that I like the under on? This fits this line, and this is the only game that really locked into me. I think they underestimate the Ole Miss defense here. I think it's
been
crazy.
a lot of that.
I think the Ole Miss tempo is not nearly as fast as they want to make it.
It's not.
Um,
They have slowed down.
62%, over 62% of the time, this thing goes under like that. That's basically it for me. We talked a ton about this a while ago. The offense, Ole Miss, like I said, they're just not really clicking right now. I don't know what it is, but it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
I still think that defense keeps us. They win the game for us, which we're going to rely on. That's where we spend all our resources. So to get to 62, one of these teams has to get in the 30s.
A minimum. Well, both of them have to get in it, and I just don't see that.
I mean, 35. It's just going to be tough. It's going to be tough, and I don't think, as much as people want Lane Kiffin to be this high flying, I don't think he really
It's about
likes
W's, man. He's about W's.
I think he's learned not to play the game that way.
Yeah.
All right, so give me under 62.5 here.
If I was ranking bets, it would be my second best bet of the weekend
Let's get it.
outside of the ULM Warhawks.
10 to 7.5. Ole Miss was way late.
All right, this is a total vibes play for me right here. I don't have no stats for you. Don't care. Don't need them. Don't want them.
Don't care.
You hear me?
Heard you.
Got it. Here we go. I've been touting. I've been banging the table for Diego Pavia all year long. In our SEC preview show, all I said for Vandy's team total to go over was 2 words. Diego Pavia. I'm sure many will think that Vandy will have a hangover for this game. And if I trust anyone to play good with a hangover, it's Diego Pavia. That dude looks like he can put on a bender on Friday night and go out and give you his best on Saturday.
You can't tell me he ain't partied in Nashville.
Absolutely, and I don't care. They're going on the road, take on the Kentucky Wildcats, who have an anemic offense. That defense is stellar, don't get me wrong. They can absolutely play some defense. I simply do not care. Upset alert for the Wildcats. Give me all the points and anchor down. Vandy plus 13.5.
I don't hate it. I don't hate it. I like it. All right, write it in there.
Told you I got nothing good for you other than I got 2 words. Diego Pavia. That's it. That's all I got. Vibes play.
I'm the same way this next game is. Me and Franklin had talked about this next game. Is Florida at Tennessee. It's 6 o'clock on ESPN. Me and him talked earlier. I said, Tennessee's going to beat the fuck out of Florida.
That's what you told me Wednesday.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Things change.
And then you give me a totally different play.
So I'm going to play Florida plus 14.
Of course you are. Yeah, of course you are.
Tennessee heads back to the land of mustard and tennis balls, where they love it, This game was supposed to be like a victory lap for Tennessee, but after last week's loss to Arkansas, it has become a must-win in my opinion. The problem is the Gators are 8-2 straight up against Tennessee in the last 10, and they're 7-3 against the spread last 10. So the Gators have dominated Tennessee. We've talked about Billy Napier. I get it. He sucks in the whole bit. But I'm just going to hold my nose and make the play here. Florida plus 14.
All right, I like it. And Nico has struggled. He has shown signs of being a young quarterback. So I don't hate the play here. Florida to muck it up like Arkansas did. I don't know if they can win.
No.
But I like taking all those points. I mean, is anything this year shown you? Big double-digit points.
Yeah, if it's got a plus in front of it.
You might want to take it.
You're okay.
All right, let's go to 7 p.m. on Fox. Iowa State, undefeated Iowa State Cyclones travel to take on the West Virginia Mountaineers. Another game that screams upset after what we saw last weekend, but I just don't know. I could not decide on a side here. I know Iowa State's undefeated. They're coming in supremely confident. The Mountaineers pulled off the great comeback against Kansas, got a bye week, dismantled Oklahoma State. Both QBs are competent. Iowa State's a little banged up on defense last week. And West Virginia has allowed every team that they've played to move the football. So I'm looking for one of those throwback Big 12 games here that gets wild at night over in West Virginia. So I'm just looking for the boys to score some points, Paul.
Yeah.
Give me the over, 53.5 here in a wild Big 12 game at night. I'll take it. Iowa State, West Virginia, over 53.5.
So we're on the same game twice with different angles.
Different angles.
This ought to be fun. All right, so, yeah, like you said, 7 o'clock on Fox. I got Iowa State -3. There's no real magic to what Iowa State does. They block well, tackle well. They
Excuse me? What words you looking for there?
well. They block well, they tackle well. For some reason, it's got better there. I don't know why I typed that in there. They don't make mistakes. They're number 2 in the Big 12 in fewest penalties. The only problem is West Virginia's number 1. So both teams don't kill themselves, basically. My thing is, can Iowa State stop the run? And I believe they can. I believe they can slow West Virginia down. So they stop the run, they win. Give me Iowa State -3.
All right, moving on to my last play. I'm going to the NFL, Paul.
Okay.
Playing a line this big in the NFL is not always a smart play. Houston lost Nico Collins for some time, but they have plenty of playmakers, and C.J. Stroud, to me, is a real deal. For New England, they lost Jacoby Brissett. In steps rookie Drake May. Texans defense have been solid. I look for the rookie to struggle, so I'll just easy play because the rookie's playing. I'll take the Texans -6.5 on the road against the Patriots.
Okay. I don't. NFL can eat one. I don't know. Does Missouri respond here and beat UMass by 27?
I don't know.
I don't know.
All right, let's run it down here. We'll show everybody the picks real quick before we get out of here. Take a look at my side. I got Clemson first half -11. Army first half -15.5. Cincinnati +3.5. Pitt -3.5. ULM -7. Commodores +13.5. ULM Warhawks -7. Iowa State, West Virginia over 53.5. And the Texans -6.5. Paul.
I got Clemson -20.5. Hope it gets ugly early and late. Give me the Spartans at San Jose State +1 on the money line. If you get -105, take that. They should win this game. Virginia +7.5. Love the hook there. At home, better team. Let's go get it. BYU, my Stormin' Mormons. Gonna get it done. North Texas -5.5. Should be able to blow out Florida Atlantic. Ole Miss, LSU under 62.5 should be there. The numbers are there. 62% to the under on this at this line. Florida +14. I'm not gonna watch it. I'm gonna hide under my pillow fort and just hope somebody texts me the score later. And Iowa State -3. Better team. Better coaching, stop the run, win the game. That's it.
All right, you got it. There's all the plays. We got to get out of here. So before we go, though, remember, let's cash those tickets. Good luck.